that he had put her head on a shelf and screamed at it for an hour, threw darts at it, and ultimately smashed her face in. He also cut her tongue out and her larynx and put them in a garbage disposal.
Tell me in a sentence who you are.
I'm nobody. I'm a bum. I'm a boxcar and a jug of wine and a straight racer if you get too close to me.
Do you ever feel violence?
Yes, I do.
What do you feel like doing?
Killing people.
You still feeling killing people?
Yes.
Describe the feeling that you get when you feel like killing people.
Well, last March 11th, I was hallucinating, and I took a razor blade and I cut a man's throat.
Here in the hospital?
Here in the hospital.
Do you think you'd murder me, Joe?
Yes.
That's gruesome, Joe. That's horrible.
Yes, it is.
And you don't blame me if I say I hope you never get out of this place.
I hope I never do either.
When most people pictured Nanny Doss, they didn't see a monster. They saw a grandmother. A woman who curled her hair and glasses a woman with curled hair and glasses who loved romance stories, smiled for reporters, and laughed so easily that the press would eventually give her a nickname, the Giggling Granny. But behind that smile was a trail of funerals stretching across decades and multiple states. Children died, a grandchild died, her mother, her sister, and husband after husband became violently ill before suddenly passing away. For years, each death could be explained away. Food poisoning, heart trouble, illness, bad luck. Until one doctor finally asked a question that should have been asked much sooner. What if all these deaths weren't accidents? Tonight we're telling the twisted story of Nanny Doss. And beneath the laughter, the romance magazines, and the search for the perfect husband was something much darker. This is the Murder Podcast Show.
Good evening, everybody. All you Murder Podcast Show fans, that's right. We are here back at it for another fantastic Saturday evening here on the Murder Podcast Show. I, per usual, am your host, Tim, also known as...
Who are you? I am the architect.
That's right. They call me the architect, the mastermind behind it all back here in my corner. And alongside of me is my co-host. They also call him...
Criminology, Chris.
Hi, everybody, from my new mic setup that Tim was so lovely to prepare for me this evening. Thanks.
That's called ADHD at its finest.
Yeah.
And alongside of Criminology, Chris is our director of all of our social media platforms. That's right, Classroom Jackie.
Time to check my social media. Just see
What's up, guys?
And per usual in our chat is our moderator,
Chris,
also known as the analyst, Unsafe Snuggie up there for us. And she's got a word for you guys for the episode tonight.
I'm Unsafe Snuggie. I will be your analyst for this evening. Please remember to be respectful in the comments, or you will be put in timeout. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
That's right. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show tonight. Unsafe is the moderator, so behave yourself in there. And no, she doesn't really sound like that. That'd be weird.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome, everybody. We have Brandon. Good evening, guys. Good evening, Brandon and Sky. David, howdy. Howdy, how are you, Google? Unsafe, welcome in. Thank you for being here. And David can't see Chris. Well, you should be able to see him now. Look at David's excited. He says, awesome. This is it. David's living it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Goog. Before... let's start things off like we usually do with our sponsors. Excuse me. Do you need quality automotive repair and maintenance you can trust? If you do, you're in luck. You can visit Mr. Wrenches of Akron, LLC. They're conveniently located across from the Derby Downs at 1175 George Washington Boulevard in Akron, Ohio. They offer the following: fast service, friendly customer care, reliable repairs, honest and professional work. Whether you need routine maintenance or repairs, they are here to help keep you on the road by appointment, or you can go ahead and just walk on in there. And you can give them a call today and speak with Gage, or stop by today. And I just realized all these episodes, I never give the phone number out. So people are like, wow, we can call, but how are we going to do that?
Actually, they like that we're not giving it out so we don't get people from across international trying to call them.
Oh, well, just Google them then and look them up there.
Or reach out to me and I will gladly give you guys that number.
Or reach out to Classroom Yaki and she will figure it out.
Lovely.
And our usual sponsor from pretty, I'd say soon off in the show, they were pretty much helping us out.
Yeah, like our second episode.
So pretty much early on, Crafty Corner by Laura makes a wide selection of handmade crochet plushies, both cute and creepy, pop culture, fantasy, anime, and horror. They also specialize in custom orders like our voodoo doll and the other various custom orders we have here in the studio. You can follow them on Instagram at the.crafty.corner.by-Laura. And as I always tell you, there's 3 dots in there. I don't get paid enough to tell you where they're at. Now, let's head over to Classroom Jackie for her 1 minute of murder segment.
Classroom Jackie's 1 minute of murder.
All right, guys. So our Instagram, we are still sitting at 45. Not much going on there, but what do you expect, right?
Boo.
I know, it's kind of lame.
Come on, you Instagram folks.
Right? Our Facebook, we have 122 followers on there. Our YouTube, drumroll.
Drum roll. Give it a drum roll.
We hit 700.
We did.
We hit 700.
We hit 700 today.
We did, right before the show. And our TikTok, we are currently sitting at 2,670.
Wow, look at that. 2,670. So as always, we do appreciate you guys and all the love and support you do show us here on the show. And per usual, we do like to tell you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to all of our social media platforms, but specifically on here too, and click the little notification bell. What that will do is that will notify you every time we are about to go live here on YouTube every Saturday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Congratulations, says Unsafe and David. Thank you, guys. We do appreciate it. But we wouldn't be where we're at today without you guys that are consistently coming here.
Seriously, yeah.
And all the streaming platform folks, too, that are consistently listening every single day and week to every, episode that we upload and post. So thank you again. Tonight, we are going to be covering, put picture up there for you on the screen, Miss Nanny Doss, also known as the Giggling Granny. That's right. She looks, she doesn't look very giggling there on the picture, but that's okay, right? We're not supposed to judge. Oh, wait, we do on this show. Yeah. But there she is. And
very serious.
Very serious, yes. Very serious. I don't know what the hairdo's going on the one side. It's kind of looks like maybe she had the grass cut on the one side and then they raised the deck on the opposite side. What do you think? You think that's what's going on there?
Or a flat tire.
Or a flat tire, yeah. There's something going on there. But, okay, so let's go ahead and dive on into the Giggling Granny here. So before newspapers called her the Giggling Granny, the Jolly Black Widow, or the Lonely Hearts Killer, she was Nancy Hazel. Nanny was born in Blue Mountain, Alabama in 1905 into a family whose home life appears to have been anything but easy. She was one of several children born to James and, Louisa, what? She looks like she pours she pours comment on people's spaghetti instead of Parmesan.
She does. She does.
Yeah, I couldn't even hold back on that one.
I was wondering, I'm like, man, I didn't mess nothing up. What's funny? But then I should have known. Leave it to unsafe, right?
Thanks, unsafe.
Accounts of Nanny's childhood consistently described her father as controlling and demanding. The children were expected to work around the home and on the family farm, and their education was frequently interrupted. For Nanny, that meant growing up with limited schooling and limited freedom. He says, tell me when to stop.
And that becomes important because when we talk about the image Nanny eventually created for herself, because the adult Nanny Doss was fascinated by romance. She loved the idea of finding the perfect man. She read romance magazines and was especially interested in the Lonely Hearts advertisements, essentially the dating profiles of the time. Men and women would place advertisements in newspapers or magazines looking for companionship, marriage, or romance. And years later, Nanny would use those advertisements to meet multiple husbands. But as a child, the romantic world she read about was very different from the life she was actually living.
Nanny later claimed another event from childhood had permanently affected her. When she was around 7 years old, she said she was riding on a train with her family when the train suddenly slowed or stopped. Nanny was thrown forward and struck her head against part of the seat. She later claimed that after the accident, she experienced headaches and other problems, and after her rest, decades later, she would point back to that injury when discussing her behavior. But we need to make something clear. There is no evidence establishing that this childhood accident somehow caused Nanny to become a murderer. That was Nanny's, explanation. And as we'll see throughout the story, Nanny was very capable of providing explanations that benefited Nanny.
While her real life was tightly controlled, romance magazines offered an escape. Their stories promised passion, devotion, excitement, and the possibility of a perfect partner waiting somewhere in the world. That fantasy seemed to have stayed with her well into adulthood. She wasn't simply going to marry once. She would marry 5 times. 4 of those husbands would eventually die while married to her. And the only husband who survived his marriage to Nanny apparently became frightened enough to leave.
I think he made the right choice.
Yeah, right?
I'm just going to throw that out
Knowing
there.
what we know now.
Yeah. In 1921, when Nanny was approximately 16 years old, she began working at the Linen Thread Company near Anniston, Alabama. That is where she met a young man named Charles Braggs. What a name. Does Charles brag, though? Oh. Anyways, their relationship moved quickly. Within only a few months of meeting, Nanny and Charlie were married. For a 16-year-old girl coming from an unhappy and restrictive home, marriage may have looked like freedom. Instead, Nanny found herself living with Charlie, or Charles, and his mother. Boy, that's a rough start right there. And according to later accounts, her relationship with her mother-in-law was difficult and controlling.
Nanny and Charlie would eventually have 4 daughters in quick succession.
Doddle's daughter, tomato.
Their oldest was Melvina. Their youngest surviving daughter was Florine? Interesting names.
Yeah.
Melvina and Florine?
Florine?
Yeah, I don't know. Sounds like sounds like something like Comet or something you use to clean your floor.
Right?
To put on spaghetti.
Yeah, right.
And between them were 2 daughters whose lives would become part of one of the earliest mysteries surrounding Nanny. By 1927, the marriage between Nanny and Charlie was falling apart. There was accusations of infidelity. Charlie sometimes disappeared for extended periods, and Nanny reportedly drank heavily during portions of the marriage. Then, 2 of their children suddenly died.
The 2 middle daughters became sick and died after eating breakfast. What a coincidence. At the time the deaths were attributed to food poisoning, there wasn't a murder investigation that actually had established Nanny that she had killed them. There wasn't a trial, and decades later, Nanny would deny killing her own blood relatives. So when we talk about these children, it's important to separate suspicion from proof. But in retrospect, the circumstances were alarming. 2 children from the same family, both dying suddenly, both deaths associated with apparent poisoning or severe gastron... That's a brutal one there. Gastrointestinal
Yeah,
sickness. Okay, we'll go with that.
that was what it was.
And years later, their mother would confess to poisoning multiple people.
Charlie Braggs apparently became frightened. According to later accounts, he received an anonymous warning telling him not to eat food prepared by his wife. Whether that warning was directly connected to the children's death isn't entirely clear, but Charlie's response certainly suggests that something was wrong. He left Nannie, and when he left, he took their oldest daughter, Melvina, with him. Their newborn daughter, Florine, remained behind. Eventually, Charlie returned. By 1928, the marriage was over, and Nannie and Charlie divorced. And Charlie would become an extremely important person in this story for one simple reason. He survived.
He was the only one of Nannie's 5 husbands who did. And when reporters later spoke to him after Nannie's crimes became public, his memories of the marriage took an entirely different meaning, because suddenly the unexplained deaths of those 2 little girls didn't look like the isolated tragedies. They looked like the possible beginning of a pattern.
Excuse me.
What are you thinking so far with this guy over there, criminology Chris? Or not this guy, I'm sorry, with
This lady.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, you know, in any case, you get in these situations, isn't just easier to leave. I mean,
Right.
you know, you got to go killing people and things because you feel like you're trapped in a marriage. Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But I don't know. Maybe her hair could be explained by that train accident.
You know what? Well, eh,
I mean, she was blaming her haircut on the.
I think she really liked wedding cake. That's what Unsafe said.
that could be.
Yeah. 5 marriages. I think.
5 wedding dresses, 5 flowers.
I wonder if she did 5 different styles of cakes too. She might have, you never know.
I don't know. We're going to dive in.
Maybe she did, what's that, French silk for one, and chocolate.
French
and,
buttercream. And
French
silk's usually a pie.
Banana pudding.
A lot of those
they don't make that in a
situations,
cake.
Too, I mean, once somebody gets to like 4 or 5, like, you got to start wondering, like, it's not just bad luck,
Well, she was, and then when they start disappearing,
right?
And that's when you really got to worry when they start disappearing. Like, oh, well, what happened to the first 2? Well, they're dead. How'd they die? Food poisoning.
Yeah.
Huh?
Everybody around me is just dying from poisoning.
Yeah, right.
Shut.
I think she had too much ceramic coating on that.
That could be.
No, listen. If she had ceramic coating, that just means that I guess when she washed her hair, it would have beat it up really well and just sheeted right off her head. But anyways, we're not here to detail hair. So, but Brandon, thank you. I do appreciate that. I just wonder if she had the 5-year coating or the 10, but go ahead.
Lovely.
After the divorce, Nannie returned to something that had fascinated her since childhood: romance advertisements. The Lonely Hearts... Oh my gosh, I can't talk. The Lonely Hearts column allowed strangers...
Where's the horn?
Yeah, I know. Horn's taking a nap.
The Lonely Hearts columns allowed strangers to find each other through newspapers and magazines. And for Nannie, they offered exactly what she had always wanted: the possibility that somewhere out there was the perfect husband. That's how she met her second one, Frank Harrelson. They married in 1929. And if Nannie expected the romantic fantasy she had been reading about, she was quickly disappointed.
Oh, man, let's hear what Frank gets himself into here. Harrelson was reportedly a heavy drinker and a violent temper. Yet despite their problems, the marriage lasted approximately 16 years. And during those 16 years, another generation of Nannie's family began experiencing unexplained deaths. Nannie's daughter, Melvina, grew up and became a mother herself. In the 1940s, Melvina gave birth to her son, Robert. Later, she gave birth to another baby, and that infant died shortly after birth under circumstances that would haunt Melvina.
According to
That was pretty good, Chris. That was good. That added a little bit of suspense to it, you know. See, ever since you got a new mic setup now, you're just, you know, you're living it. He's kind of feeling like he's Collins, Mr. Phil, you know, Collins behind the drum kit.
Oh,
That's kind of what you're feeling like.
Phil Collins was behind the drum kit?
Yeah. Yep.
excuse me.
All right.
According to later family accounts, Melvina had been exhausted and still affected by medication after giving birth, when she believed she saw Nanny holding a pin near the newborn. Melvina later suspected that her mother had killed the baby. But again, this was never proven in court. There was no murder conviction connected to the infant's death. It remains one of the disturbing allegations surrounding Nanny Doss. Then, in 1945, another tragedy occurred. Melvina's young son, Robert, was left in Nanny's care. He died suddenly. His death was attributed to asphyxia from unknown causes. And then, investigators would later discover another troubling detail. Nanny had taken out a life insurance policy on the child. After Robert's death, she collected approximately $500.
David, a gentleman I worked with in West Virginia, said he's been married 3 times. His first wife had died on a camping trip eating poison shrooms, and his second wife died after falling down a waterfall. Yeah, I wouldn't eat the mushrooms too, David.
No, he's saying that the guy said that she wouldn't eat the mushrooms, so she fell down the waterfall.
Oh, is that what you're getting out of that, Chris?
I'm confused.
David, when you get a chance, just maybe try to. I don't even know. I don't know, but
still, either way, you got to start one. Yeah.
Money appears repeatedly in Nanny Doss' story, but describing money as her only motive oversimplifies the case. Insurance policies existed. Nanny sometimes benefited financially when people died, but her behavior toward husbands also appears connected to anger, disappointment, jealousy, control, and her obsessive pursuit of an idolized romance. Nanny seemed to repeatedly enter relationships believing she had found the man she wanted. And when the reality didn't match the fantasy, the husband sometimes died. Sometimes.
By 1945, Nanny had been married to Frank Carlson for approximately 16 years. Then came the incident Nanny herself would later describe to investigators. Harrelson came home after drinking, and according to her later confession, he sexually assaulted her. The following day, Nanny retaliated. She knew where Harrelson kept his alcohol, and she added rat poison to it. He became sick, and on September 15th, 1945, he died. At the time, nobody connected his death to murder. Nanny was now a widow.
I'm looking something up real quick, and my search history, along with everything murder-related that I look up, hopefully the FBI doesn't look at it and go, what the hell's the matter with this guy?
I often think about that from time to time when I'm sitting here just looking on my cell phone, researching things, and it kind of...
I am Googling how to obtain rat poison, because I've always been curious, how do these people do this when they get rat poison? So you can obtain commercial rodent control products.
You can get it at Home Depot.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Well, you know what? I guess the FBI won't worry too much. I just always like back then, though, you're talking 40s and 50s, they had that much of access to it.
Stuff.
Yeah, I think probably harsher chemicals were probably more readily available.
I think it was arsenic.
Yeah,
was the main
you could
thing.
probably just buy like a straight bottle of arsenic, probably. You know.
Okay, I was just curious. FBI, Google, everybody else. I'm not trying to do anything. I just wanted to know for the show. Anyways, and they're not sponsors. And this is where the pattern becomes easier to see. Poison was uniquely suited to what Nanny was doing. She wasn't attacking people publicly. She wasn't leaving behind obvious crime scenes. She was a wife, a mother, a grandmother. She could prepare someone's food, pour someone's coffee, being a sick husband something to drink, or bring a sick husband something to drink. Then when that person became ill, she could become the concerned caregiver standing beside the bed. Symptoms of poison or poisoning could resemble ordinary illness. And the middle of the 20th century, especially when someone already had health problems or drank heavily, a sudden death might not automatically result in an autopsy. Why would that? Oh, I see. Okay. So yeah, if they automatically assume that, but now they usually do those every time somebody passes, right?
Right, but
Well,
back
for the
then it
most
wasn't as
part,
common.
Yeah.
I mean, now like things are controlled a lot better and researched a lot more. Back then, it was like, well, he died, but there were probably a lot more people dying from eating things or
Yeah.
that kind of stuff because it wasn't as heavily regulated. You got to kind of watch where you got your food from. You got to, because you never know. I mean, what is it, the FDA or
Oh yeah.
they
Yep.
didn't have regulations and things. They weren't cracking down on farms and
Yeah.
so you're getting all sorts of neat shit from.
It's not like today where we had the parasite thing,
Yeah.
which I think a lot of that's dying down now. But in 1945, Baltimore had 2,830 city blocks treated with rat poison. Approximately 1 million rats were killed. Jeez, that's crazy. I hate them things, man. I hate mice too. Mice creep me out. Which I saw a dead mouse in my driveway today. But anyways,
There are feral cats around.
that's probably what it was.
It gave Nanny something incredibly valuable: camouflage. Her victims didn't necessarily look murdered, they just looked sick. And the woman beside them didn't look like a killer, just a grieving widow.
Nanny was single again. What a shocker. And once again, she looked for romance. Wow. Look at her. She's trying. Through Lonely Hearts correspondence, she met a man from Lexington, North Carolina named, what the?
Arlie?
Yeah. Okay.
Arlie.
That's different. I guess maybe it was popular back
It's
then.
Arlie.
Once again, they married. But once again, Nanny's imagined romance didn't survive contact with reality. Lanning drank heavily and the marriage became troubled. Then he became ill. Wow.
Nanny later admitted to poisoning him. Rat poison was again reportedly involved, this time placed in his food. But when Arlie died in 1950, doctors didn't immediately suspect murder. They attributed his death to heart problems. There had reportedly been illness circulating in the area, and because Arlie was known to drink, his death didn't immediately scream homicide. No autopsy exposed Nanny, and she was free again.
Then something strange happened to the house. After his death, the home burned. Nanny wasn't there when the fire happened, but she reportedly received insurance money connected to the property. Then she went to stay with her sister. Is that Dove? Dovey. Not long afterward, Dovey died.
By this point, if you're keeping track, we're no longer talking about one suspicious death. We're talking about clusters of death following one woman. Children, a grandchild, a husband, another husband, a sister. But those deaths occurred across years and across jurisdictions. There were no modern computerized database connecting everything. One doctor in one town might have no idea what Nanny's previous husbands had also died suddenly somewhere else. One police department might have no reason to investigate a death that happened years earlier in another state. Nanny kept moving, and the pattern moved with her.
David, that's good. I guess there were no family portraits in her house.
Oh, I guarantee.
Probably not. Or you see it where it's the whole family, and then the next one is missing a person, and then down the line, missing another person. Before you know it, it's just her.
Just like cross them off. Yeah. You just spent a fortune in frames,
It's like those pictures, those class pictures you take in school. Slowly, you're just Xing people's faces off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mine just came up, speaking of that, on a Facebook group I belong in for my class when I graduated, and they posted it yesterday and said, happy 20 years. And I was showing Unsafe, and I said, well, see if you can pick me out. I look like a friggin' I look like I'm like 12,
Crap, that's next year.
Yeah, I got a 25er coming up next year.
Do you really?
Yeah. It's pretty wild. But yeah,
it is.
I think in a lot of these areas too, like David had said, they treated 2,800 blocks Back then, they didn't worry about it, like the DDT thing. You remember that? Like, years past, like a long time ago, they didn't worry too much about doing that kind of thing and it getting into a water supply or getting into, the sewer systems and water being treated correctly and that kind of thing. Because back then, it just wasn't done that well. So there probably was a hell of a lot of ramifications from those actions and
Yeah.
spraying for bugs and mosquitoes or things. A lot of people were probably getting sick all over the place.
Oh, yeah, I could imagine.
They
Jeez.
just didn't pay attention to it. They're like, oh, yeah, it'll be fine. Solution of pollution is dilution, and
Yeah, right.
everything's going to be cool. Just
Yeah. Keep on living. You'll be all right. You
Yeah.
feel sick when you walk out in the streets? It's all right.
Yeah.
Allergies. Allergies.
Right, yeah.
So now we're moving on to Nanny's fourth marriage was to Richard Morton. I wonder if he owns Morton Salt. Again, Lonely Hearts Correspondence helped bring them together. They married in 1952 and lived in Kansas. And once again, Nanny apparently discovered that her newest husband was not the romantic idea she had imagined. Morton reportedly spent time with other women. But before Morton died, someone else came into the household. Nanny's mother, Louisa.
In January 1953, following the death of Nanny's father, Louisa came to stay with Nanny and Richard. Within days, Louisa became violently ill. She complained of severe stomach pain, and then she died. Imagine looking at this story without knowing what comes next. An old woman becomes sick and dies while staying with her adult daughter. Tragic, absolutely. Automatically murder? Not necessarily. But then, Richard Morton died only a few months later.
According to the accounts of the investigation that followed, Nanny poisoned Morton with arsenic placed in coffee. By May 1953, Richard Morton was dead. Nanny was a widow again, and once again she didn't remain single for long because there was already another potential husband waiting. His name was Samuel Doss. Samuel would finally bring Nanny's killing spree to an end. Well, he must have been a real winner.
Before we get to Samuel, there's a question worth addressing. How did Nanny Doss pick her victims? The answer isn't as simple as saying she had one specific victim type. She didn't. The deaths attributed or suspected to involve Nanny include husbands, children, grandchildren, her mother, a sister, and possibly other relatives. But when it came specifically to husbands, a pattern does emerge.
Where am I at? Nanny searched for companionship. She used Lonely Hearts advertisement to meet several men. She corresponded with them. She presented herself as a woman looking for love and marriage. And she married quickly, but she seems to have carried an unrealistic picture of what married life was supposed to be. When husbands drank, cheated, became abusive, controlled her, or simply failed to match the fantasy she constructed, Nanny eliminated the problem. At least that is one way her behavior has been interpreted. They both sound decent.
And that's why reducing Nanny to a woman who simply married men for insurance money doesn't completely fit. Financial gain mattered in some deaths. We know insurance money appears repeatedly. But Samuel Doss is particularly interesting because he wasn't described like some of the previous husbands. He wasn't another violent drunk. His great offense in Nanny's eyes seemed to have been that he was boring.
Can't have that.
We doing this one first, right? Okay. Samuel Doss lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Nanny traveled to meet him, and in June 1953, they married. Samuel was deeply religious and considerably more conservative than Nanny. He apparently liked order. He liked educational material. He didn't approve of the romance magazines and television programs that Nanny enjoyed, and that became a source of conflict.
Think about the irony. Nanny had spent decades searching for the romantic man she imagined in magazines. She finally married a husband who wasn't known for drinking and violence associated with some of her earlier relationships. And still, she wasn't happy. Samuel reportedly tried to restrict what Nanny read and watched. Eventually, she left him for a period of time, but they reconciled. As part of that reconciliation, Samuel reportedly made financial agreements benefiting Nanny, including adding her to a bank account and obtaining life insurance coverage. Then, Samuel became sick.
Uh-oh. In 1954, Samuel was hospitalized with severe digestive problems. And this is one of the most astonishing parts of the entire case because he survived. Doctors treated him. He spent weeks recovering. Eventually, he improved enough to go home. He had effectively survived what may have been Nanny's first attempt to kill him. But he had no idea what was waiting for him there.
Bum, bum,
Dun, dun, dun,
bum.
dun.
After being released from the hospital, Samuel returned home to his wife, the person who should have been caring for him. Instead, Nanny poisoned him again. Accounts describe arsenic being placed in his coffee. On October 12, 1954, Samuel Doss died. And after decades of suspicious deaths, Nanny finally encountered a doctor who wasn't satisfied with the explanation.
You know what time it is?
What time is it?
I'm going to tell you what time it is right now. I'm thinking it is time for some murder trivia here on the Murder Podcast Show. That's right. Every Saturday night, we ask you a series of 4 questions, and the winner at the very end that gets the most right wins a fantastic prize of absolutely fucking nothing. Now, keep in mind, guys, Unsafe has won for 2 weeks in a row, and she is the current champion. So is Unsafe going to be able to continue that streak with a 3rd week in a row, or is somebody else going to take the title?
No, I'm betting she's going to win.
Now, she has stated several times that she is absolutely loving her prizes both weeks of absolutely nothing. She is just digging it big time. So, first question. Let's dig on in here. What serial killer once saved a drowning child? Okay, we have A, Jeffrey Dahmer, B, Gary Ridgway, C, Ted Bundy, D, Pedro Lopez. That's right. What serial killer once saved a drowning child? Jeffrey Dahmer, Gary Ridgway, Ted Bundy, or Pedro Lopez? Brandon says C. Unsafe says B, no clue. And David says C. And the answer is C, Ted Bundy. That's right, C, Ted Bundy.
Yeah, surprisingly, he actually saved a child from drowning.
Probably because he was always living at the beaches trying to pick up women, pretending he needed help putting his surfboard on his car.
That's fair.
With his fake broken arm in a
cast.
sling. Yeah.
He didn't have an issue with kids. He didn't mess with kids.
True.
No.
True. But he was probably there scoping out women when a child happened to be drowning.
And he liked the water features.
Yes. Yes. Second question. What actress won an Oscar for her portrayal of Eileen Wuornos? A, Carmen Diaz, B, Jennifer Aniston, C, Drew Barrymore, or D, what is that one?
Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron. That's right. What actress won an Oscar for her portrayal of Eileen Wuornos? Carmen Diaz, Jennifer Aniston, Drew Barrymore, or
Charlize Theron.
Thank you. All right. We have Unsafe says D. Brandon says D. And
A very enthusiastic D.
D.
Yes, very. And the answer is D. Charlize Theron. So congratulations there.
Brandon has 2.
Brandon has 2, Unsafe has 1, and David has 2 now. Question number 3. Nanny Doss routinely added arsenic to what baked goods? A, prune cakes, B, apple pie, C, chocolate chip cookies, or D, ice cream?
Ooh, this is a hard one.
Nanny Doss routinely added arsenic to what baked goods?
Don't ask. They actually did bake the ice cream.
Prune cakes, apple pie, chocolate chip cookies, or ice cream?
How'd that get it there? Sorry, it's a baked good.
I'm sorry.
Oh. Well, that knocks down a 30% chance right there.
Brandon says B, Unsafe says C, and David, chime in there, Goog. What do you got there, Goog?
We'll give you one more second.
We'll give you
Yeah, 1 more second to Google it.
Well, no, you better not be Googling it, because then your prize of absolutely fucking nothing will be not sent. The answer is, let's see here. A, prune cake.
Ew.
Nobody got it correct on that one. And that is disgusting. I would not eat prune cake at all.
Can you
That just
imagine the amount of
sounds
poop?
nasty. Oh my God. And Unsafe, please. Your food looks amazing. Your baking looks great, but don't ever make me prune cake.
Missouri's famous for their prune cakes.
And Fig Newtons.
That's great, Chris. That's
and
great.
Fig Newtons.
She used poison in many things. That wasn't a choice to choose
But
from, though.
prune cakes was one of the biggest ones that she baked and put in.
She says gross.
Gross.
Yeah. If you end up baking me prune cake, just be prepared. Your bathroom will not be available for a while.
Well, they're high in fiber.
Yeah. So will the plumbing bill.
It's like Metamucil cake.
It's my specialty, though. Oh God. Final question. What serial killer threw his mother's voice box in the garbage disposal to get rid of it? Now, if you know our intro video every week when we start the show, I talk about this clip. I'm the first one to talk about it in there, and it makes me laugh. That's probably not anything to admit, but what serial killer threw his mother's voice box in the garbage disposal to get rid of it? A, Ed Gein, B, Robert Kraft, C, Dennis Rader, or D, Ed Kemper?
Didn't he say it was shut up?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I will tell that here in a second. It's probably one of the craziest cases that we've ever covered on this show so far as disturbing stuff. Brandon says B. Brandon also has throwing up emojis.
From prune cakes.
I think he was grossed out by the fake ice.
Unsafe says D. Anyways, yes. So when police questioned this guy, they asked him, why out of all things did you put your mother's larynx in the garbage disposal? And he replied back with, because she wouldn't shut the fuck up. So the answer is D, Ed Kemper. Unsafe got it correct.
Whoop, whoop.
I'm pretty sure Unsafe, that is 3 weeks in a row. Congratulations, Unsafe, for winning 3 weeks in a row, still holding the title here on Murder Trivia. She is still holding the title here on the Murder Podcast Show. Congratulations, Unsafe. We will ship out your package of absolutely fucking nothing.
We expect it next month.
Can we have any more boxes?
No,
I can get some.
Actually, Unsafe, your prize that you had won will be there next month. We will have it there next month.
Yeah, we need to get bubble wrap and that sort of thing because the nothing is fragile.
We could just drive it down in a car too. Just saying.
Yeah.
Raptor Jesus, hi, welcome in.
Hello.
Nice to see you again.
So yes, There we go. Really, I'm so thankful. She even has the, the hands. That's perfect. See, she's always so appreciative of winning.
Absolutely nothing,
Careful when you
too.
unwrap the nothing.
It is breakable.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's very fragile. We will package it accordingly. But...
There will be snacks included, too.
Oh, yeah.
Nope, no prune cake, though.
Yeah.
No
How about
prune
fruit cake?
I haven't had that in a while.
Okay.
Oh, God. That's what happens when you get old and have arthritis in your knees. You got to shift around a little bit. Okay.
I'm going to find upside down pineapple cake thing, right?
You make a phenomenal pineapple upside down cake.
I know a place with lots of packing stuff.
I do too.
Oh, that kind of sounded like a Hank Hill laugh. That was pretty good. Damn it.
Baba.
So, moving on now. Mr. Samuel's doctor had already treated him. He knew how sick that he had been, and now his patient was suddenly dead shortly after leaving the hospital. Something didn't make sense. The doctor wanted an autopsy. Nannie apparently wasn't immediately eager for one, so the physician reportedly persuaded her by explaining that understanding his sickness that he had might help doctors save other people in the future. Nannie then agreed. That decision destroyed the life she had built.
The autopsy found arsenic. Not a trace amount, not an ambiguous result. Samuel Doss had been poisoned. Now police weren't investigating a natural death. They were investigating murder. And the smiling widow suddenly had some very difficult questions to answer.
So I'm going to play... actually, let me read this, and then I will play a clip of when they were talking to her, investigators. Nannie was arrested. Investigators began looking into her past, and what they found was extraordinary. One dead husband, then another, dead relatives, dead children, different towns, different states, different explanations, but always one person somewhere nearby, Nannie.
Authorities began exhuming bodies. Tests on remains provided additional evidence of poisoning in some of the deaths. And under questioning, Nannie began talking. What investigators heard transformed the case from one suspicious death in Oklahoma into the story of one of America's most notorious female serial killers.
Cake Maker, welcome in. No worries, no need to apologize for being a little bit late to the show.
Everybody's
it's all good.
got lives.
You lost your chance to win nothing, but
so
it's okay.
I'm going to play an interrogation, and this is old school, so bear with it when you're watching it, because this is from like 1955, 54. Her trial was in 55 in May. She was convicted in June. But this is them talking to her. Now watch some body language on this. This is pretty crazy. So here we go.
Nanny Doss, how many girls are in the women's side at the Oklahoma State Penitentiary?
There's 31 on my side and 26 on the colored side.
Do all the girls call you Nanny?
Oh, no, so part of them calls me Mama.
Mom?
Yes, sir.
May I call you Nanny?
That's right.
Where were you born, man?
I was born in Alabama. And
Did you have a large family?
I had 4 sisters and a brother.
Were you rich?
No, sir. Farmer.
Did you work in the field?
Yes, sir.
How long?
All my life.
How old were you when you first got married?
16.
And how many times were you married?
5.
Why are you in the penitentiary now?
Oh, the claims I killed my husband.
Which, your last husband?
Yes, sir.
Did they say you killed any more?
Yes.
There's your other husband? Which other?
3 of them.
Did you?
No, sir.
How did they say you claimed they you killed her?
They claimed I poisoned them.
Did you say you didn't poison?
I didn't.
At the time you were convicted, was there a lot of talk in the newspapers about that conviction?
Yes, sir.
What did they say?
Oh, they said all kinds of nasty things.
Do you think they were his wife?
No, sir.
Do you still maintain that you did not poison either your last husband or anything else?
I certainly do.
Nanny, what would you like to have more than anything else in the world?
Well, my freedom first. And the next, I'd like a small TV for my room.
You like to watch television?
Yes, sir.
What do you like to see?
Well, I like to see a good story. I like sermon. You get sermon.
You mean preaching?
Yes, sir.
Do you listen to preaching sermons within the prison wall?
Yes, sir.
About music?
I listen to all kind of music.
What kind
Enjoy music. Well, I really like hillbilly music.
How about this rock and roll Elvis Presley music you like?
Well, I don't care very much about it myself.
How about the younger girls over there?
They enjoy it very much.
Getting back to the reason you were convicted, who do you blame for that?
Myself.
Why?
Well, I didn't know anything about it, and never the attorney told me to go down to PGF, had to then.
Do you think it's valuable for people to have some knowledge of the law?
I certainly do.
Cases like her.
I certainly do.
How long would you be in prison?
Well, I spent it for life.
Would you ever get out?
I hope.
What would you do if you get out?
I would take my daughter's children and put them all four together and try to raise them.
What sort of a living would you try to make? What would you do?
Well, I don't know anything except in housekeeping and farm work.
What do you do over in the women's side of the prison?
I work in the laundry.
Ironing.
Ironing, washing.
Does that pay you any money?
She's interesting.
Yeah, but I can see what they're talking about.
Just the way she does give off the very old Southern grandma style, and the eyes are creepy.
Yeah.
But the way she's sitting like this as well, as if she doesn't want to show her whole face and she's keeping herself turned. What popped out to me was the lipstick. Even though it's in black and white, she has on some kind of bright colored lipstick right now.
Oh, okay. I didn't even catch that.
And she kept licking her lip when she would talk.
Kind of like the shoemaker.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed she kind of had that smirk though too.
Yeah.
Did you see that? What do you think, Chris?
Yeah.
I was trying to read the body, language.
Well, there's not a whole lot there. I mean, this, like I said, her eyes. I mean, there's like an emptiness there.
Yeah.
Where I think if this was like an interrogation prior to her actually being convicted for things, like there'd be a little bit more to look at. But I mean, she's obviously been caught. Now you can't tell whether she's just flat out lying about her previous husbands. I mean, but come on. Like, why wouldn't you? I mean, they didn't put her to death. They didn't sentence her to death, right?
No, she's found guilty.
She ended up dying from, like, leukemia or something
she
like
died
that.
from leukemia.
So, but she gets put in prison and you're there for life. Why don't you just, like, fess up to the other stuff? I mean, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly it. Yeah, it was different, It's different to watch something from that time period, too, because we're used to watching modern stuff,
Maybe she's exposed to a male. Maybe she was trying to
flirt
a little bit. Maybe that's where the licking the lips occasionally
and the lipstick
were.
and the looking, like the flirty. It's almost a flirty look that she's giving him. Like she's...
Yeah.
What about that rock and roll music? You hear about that?
Yeah. I didn't even think of that. I wonder if she was in a way trying to flirt, because think about it. She's in an all woman's facility and they don't see men. So she could have knew she was, I'm sure that she had to agree to talking to this guy. So she's probably got her makeup ready and lipstick and all that.
And then if you actually look at it, the interviewer, the gentleman that's interviewing her, obviously is not a young man.
No.
He's probably around the same age as her, just besides by the hairline and the way he's sitting and everything like that.
Yeah.
So quite possibly she found him attractive and again was trying to flirt.
That's crazy though, like you said, that I can see it now looking at it on my screen here now that's done, but she is turned sideways as she's looking at him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's looking out the corner of her eye.
Yeah.
Like, why?
She's almost like she doesn't want to make full eye contact.
She's playing shy / hard to get.
Okay.
That would be something like that. Like, I'm shy, but I'm going to talk to you anyways and tell you this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. So Nannie confessed to killing 4 of her husbands, Frank, I still don't remember.
Arlie.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
Richard and Samuel.
So she did admit a handful of them.
Yes.
Because initially, I think during this, she was saying that she only was admitting to 1, right?
She said she wasn't admitting to them. Not when she was interviewing. She was saying they didn't do it.
She said that she was,
Yeah, she was
prosecuted for killing 1. But
yeah. But I wonder if she must have confessed to them all maybe after this was shot.
That could
or something. But yeah. And I also read too that in total, but they all weren't linked to her, there was 11 deaths total.
We're about to cover that part.
Well, hell yeah. I like to be ahead of the game,
Right.
We'll go with that. She also had admitted responsibility for additional family deaths, according to contemporary accounts, although sources differ on exactly which deaths she acknowledged and which she continued to deny. That disagreement matters because the number attached to Nanny Doss varies depending on whether you're counting proven murder, confessed murders, or deaths investigators later suspected.
And that's why you'll see different numbers attached to the Giggling Granny. Some accounts say 11 victims, others say 12, but legally, her case is much narrower. She would ultimately be convicted in Oklahoma for 1 murder, Samuel Doss. Authorities in other states investigated other deaths, but Nannie was never separately tried for all of them. So when someone says Nanny Doss was convicted of killing 11 people, that's incorrect. The suspected body count and the legal conviction are 2 very different things.
Well, that just shut me down. Anyways, and during all of this, reporters noticed something bizarre in her behavior. Nannie smiled, she laughed, she giggled. Questions about death that horrified the public sometimes seemed to amuse her. Photographs and newspaper coverage emphasized the contrast. Here was a grandmotherly woman talking about poisoned husbands and smiling. The press had its nickname, the Giggling Granny.
We need to return to Nannie's children because this is one of the most confusing parts of her story. Nannie and Charlie had 4 daughters. 2 survived, Melvina and Florine, and the middle 2 died in 1927 under circumstances described at the time as food poisoning. Later, after Nannie was exposed as the poisoner, those deaths became deeply suspicious, but suspicion isn't the same as proof.
Then there were Malvina's kids. So Malvina believed her newborn daughter may have been killed by Nannie after birth. Years later, I'm drawing a blank, and I'm court. I should know this. I should. Allegation. Thank you. I'm thanking myself, became part of the Nanny Doss story. But again, there was no conviction. Malvina's young son, Robert, later died while in Nannie's care. Nannie collected insurance money after his death. That death also became part of the larger investigation into Nannie's past.
This is one of the most disturbing aspects of that case. If investigators' suspicions were correct, Nannie's violence wasn't limited to disappointing husbands. It extended into her own family, and it meant that people who trusted her enough to leave children in her care may have been unknowingly placing them with the person responsible for their death.
Or bake you a cake, David says.
The Giggling Granny.
Yeah, or bake you a cake, yeah. There's a lot of nicknames you could go with here. So, some questions here. So why did she do it? There is no single answer we can give with certainty. Money was clearly present in parts of the story. There was insurance policies. There were financial benefits after deaths. But Nannie herself framed her murders differently. She portrayed herself as someone searching for love. The romance magazines mattered to her. Lonely Hearts columns mattered. She repeatedly sought a new husband.
And then there's something almost cynical about it. Find the man, correspond with him, fall in love with the idea of him, marry him, discover he's flawed, be unsatisfied, he dies. Search starts again. Each new husband represented another opportunity to create the romance Nannie imagined. And each time reality failed her, she could simply erase that reality and begin again. That's so messed up.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is. But we also have to be cautious about accepting Nanny's own explanations. Serial offenders aren't necessarily reliable narrators of their own motives, as we've talked about and learned in a lot of these cases that we've done. Nanny knew the press was fascinated by her. She knew reporters were listening, and the image of a lonely woman searching for true love is considerably more sympathetic than the image of serial poisoner who murdered for convenience or financial gain. The truth may be involved in all these things: money, resentment, and control, and fantasy.
Nanny was charged in Oklahoma with murdering Samuel Doss. And this is where popular retellings sometimes describe a dramatic trial and verdict. That's not exactly what happened. There was no lengthy jury trial deciding whether she was guilty. On May 17, 1955, Nanny Doss pleaded guilty to murdering Samuel. That guilty plea meant that there was no need for prosecutors to prove the entire case to a jury. The question became punishment.
The death penalty was possible. Oklahoma had the electric chair, and Nanny's crimes were sensational enough that execution was a very real concern. But ultimately, she was sentenced to life imprisonment. She would not be executed, and despite investigations elsewhere, she would never stand trial for the full list of deaths associated with her name.
That can feel strange when you look at the scale of the allegations. 4 dead husbands that she admitted to killing, multiple suspicious family deaths, bodies exhumed, evidence of poisoning. Yet legally, the conviction that sent Nanny Doss to prison for the rest of her life was the murder of Samuel Doss. 1 conviction, 1 life sentence.
Nanny was sent to the Oklahoma State Penitentiary in McAllister? Sure.
McAllister.
And even prison produced one ironic detail. Nanny reportedly wanted to work in the prison kitchen. Officials had another idea.
Yeah, probably not.
The woman who had become famous for, or no, I'm sorry,
Infamous.
Infamous, yeah, I don't need that again. For poisoning food and drinks was assigned elsewhere. She worked in the laundry.
Which may be one of the easiest administrative decisions in prison history. No.
Yeah.
No. Nanny
Yeah.
Doss is not working in food service. But even behind bars, she continued attracting attention. Her cheerful demeanor remained part of her public identity. She joked, she smiled, she talked with reporters, and the contradiction continued to fascinate people. Because nothing about the stereotypical image of a serial killer seemed to match the woman they were seeing. She wasn't hiding in an alley. She wasn't a mysterious stranger. She was a wife, mother, grandmother, made coffee, prepped meals, cared for sick relatives, and those ordinary domestic roles may have been exactly what allowed her to remain undetected for so long.
That was my ADHD for a moment. David says life insurance payments ranged from $500 to $1,200. Wow.
Big money.
$1,200 in 1945 is equal to $22,261.20 today. Jesus.
Right.
Unsafe says, nah, I'm not hungry.
Yeah, I won't eat.
Nah, I'm good. I'll starve.
Yeah,
I'll let
food's probably bad enough. I mean,
yeah, I'll let the low blood sugar kick in, and I'll just have to deal with the shakes. And a lot of people are going to hate me because when I get hangry, it's going to get bad. But David today, yes. Nanny Doss would spend approximately 10 years in prison. She never walked free again. In 1965, Nanny became seriously ill. I don't think by food poisoning. The woman who had spent years watching other people become mysteriously sick was now facing an illness of her own. She was diagnosed with leukemia. On June 2nd, 1965, Nanny Doss died in the hospital ward of the Oklahoma State Penitentiary. She was 59 years old. That's young.
There was no execution, no walk to the electric chair, no dramatic last-minute confession that solved every questionable death. Nanny died from leukemia while serving her sentence, and she took some answers with her. Exactly how many people did she kill? We'll probably never know. Which suspicious family deaths were actually murders? Again, we won't know. And because so many deaths occurred years before anyone realized Nanny was a serial poisoner, Investigators were trying to reconstruct a pattern after much of the evidence was already gone.
The nickname is catchy, the Giggling Granny, almost funny, and maybe that's why it survived. But the nickname can also disguise what the story actually represents. Behind it were real people. 4 little girls were born to Nannie and Charles. 2 of them never made it out of childhood. A grandson died while in his grandmother's care. Husbands trusted the woman preparing their meals and pouring their drinks. A mother went to stay with her daughter and died days later. A sister welcomed Nannie into her home and soon died herself. Whether every suspicious death attributed to Nannie was actually murder may never be established, but enough were.
And Samuel Doss ultimately became that person whose death stopped everything. Not because Nannie suddenly made some enormous mistake. She used the same basic weapon that had worked before: poison. She depended on illness disguising murder. But this time, Samuel had a doctor who asked another question. Why did a patient who had improved enough to leave suddenly die after returning home? The question led to the autopsy, which found arsenic. And once investigators started looking backwards, decades of supposedly unrelated tragedies began lining up.
Yeah, but Brandon, the thing is, you said you'd rather drink than eat anything that she made, but she also poisoned their drinks too.
Yeah, coffee.
Yeah.
Coffee.
Multiple times.
Multiple times. And she probably poisoned a beer too. That's one of the lessons buried inside this case. Patterns can disappear. When every incident is viewed alone, one unexplained death can be a tragedy. A second can be
coincidence.
Yeah, I had a burp. That was bad.
Nice
coincidence. But when the same person repeatedly stands at the center of sudden illnesses, unexplained deaths, insurance payments, and poisoned spouses, eventually, coincidence stops being a satisfying explanation.
Nanny Doss spent much of her life searching for the romance she'd read about as a girl. She wanted the perfect husband, the perfect relationship, the perfect love story. Instead, she left behind something very different: a trail of dead husbands, a family marked by unexplained loss, and a mystery that investigators were never able to completely unravel.
The public remembered the smile, the newspapers remembered the laughter, history remembered the nickname. The Giggling Granny, but behind that nickname was a woman who discovered that poison could turn murder into illness, and that sometimes the least suspicious person in the room is the one standing closest to the victim. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
She smiled for the cameras, she laughed when discussing death, and for decades almost no one realized that might have been hiding behind that smile. Nanny Doss died in prison, but the question she left behind remains. How many people did the Giggling Granny actually kill?
I think it's time we're going to head on over to my boy Blue over there for a little segment of his Inside the Mind with Criminology Chris.
Yeah, David. Yeah, one of the kids did die from asphyxia. Although, I mean, maybe they choked on a baked good or something like that. I think you still blame it on her. But I think at the end of the day, I don't know that we covered this at all, but I had read that she also, growing up the way that she did at the farm, working on the farm, I guess her dad was very controlling. He wouldn't actually let her dress nicely because he was afraid that she would attract men. And despite that, I guess she was still, from what I read, she had been raped multiple times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as well. So I think, growing up in a controlling household and having those fantasies of a marriage where, she would be married or tied with a man that was nothing like her father. Like she didn't, the last thing she wanted to do was, hook up with a guy that was like her dad, or maybe any of these other guys that she might have been affiliated with that might have been responsible. Maybe they were her father's friends, or who knows who they were. But
I did see something about that being like it could have been them.
right. So I think honestly, like, yeah, the the financial gain was enjoyable for her, I'm sure. But at the same time, I think a lot of it derived specifically from those control issues. And why, well, same thing I asked at the beginning, why the hell don't you just walk away?
Yeah.
Your answer was to kill these guys, So was
Because if she walked away, she probably didn't get any money.
Well, and that's true. I mean, there was a benefit to them dying. There was a financial benefit to them dying, and it still ended up accomplishing the same thing that she set out to accomplish, which was once they started getting controlling in a relationship or they weren't exactly what she wanted them to be, then she'd knock them off. But still, I think it's just, you probably should walk away, or maybe she had some vengeful intent there because of the way she was treated when she was young. I don't know.
Could have been.
Kind of like Aileen's motive.
Yeah.
I have a hard time believing that it was just because she whacked her head on a bar in a train.
Yeah. Brandon, I mean, yeah, it's true, Brandon. I kind of think she did it for that too, financial gain. But we also talked about too, though, that not all that she did not gain, financially from every one of them.
Right.
So maybe she thought she was going to, and then after she killed them, then she didn't get anything, and she probably was like, shit.
Do you guys think she was actually responsible for the children's deaths?
Well, probably. She was probably trying to erase parts of her life for her to escape, because once she felt trapped, then she felt like she was controlled by other people.
Yeah.
And once she felt like she was losing control of the situation, then she was trying to erase that for her to have the freedom to move on again.
Including the grandchildren?
Hell.
But I mean, think about it. They were in her care during that, and then they suddenly died after
One
that.
of them was in her care. The other one died while I was in the hospital.
But it had to do with
the Melvina said that she saw what looked like a pin in Doss's fingers.
Kind of makes me think that anytime she received any kind of responsibility to the world, that she was
that's a good point.
Erasing that responsibility.
That's a good point. Maybe it had to do with trauma going back to her father.
Right.
Because he gave her a lot of responsibilities and stuff and everything. Yeah, like you stated, but
yeah, she didn't want to be held responsible for even watching your grandkid. I
guess. Which is wild. That's sad. Yeah, I think so. I think as far as the kids too, Brandon, I think,
And she did talk about it when she was, even in that video, that she didn't possess any actual real world skills of any kind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she didn't get to go to school.
She wasn't going to be able to support herself.
Oh, cooking, baking.
Yeah, well, there was baked goods.
She baked an awesome prune cake, I'm sure.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Fiber.
The bake sale.
The bake sale.
Could not have gone on without.
Well, that was Inside the Mind with Mr. Criminology Chris, as he gives us his intake and his insight on that case that we cover every week. That is going to do it for the Giggling Granny, Miss Nanny Doss, here on the Murder Podcast Show. Once again, we do appreciate everybody's love and support, and sharing is caring when you do for our social media platforms. Please and thank you. And don't forget to subscribe here to the YouTube channel and hit that little notification bell. That'll let you know every time we're going to go live. That's right. We go live every Saturday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Other than that, that is it. We are going to get out of here, and you guys, we hope you have a wonderful weekend and a great week next week. She could create job openings through baking. You had to go there, Goog. But you had to go there.
She'd have a limited amount of customers, at least over time. She probably would lose a lot of those.
Yeah. They're suddenly just vanishing. What's happening?
She could have had a very suspicious business called the Suspicious Bakery.
Oh.
Well, it does kind of make you wonder how many people she ended up actually killing, too.
That is true.
Right.
Did she ever participate in the bake sale? Like, holy shit.
Oh, God. There could have been a lot more, yeah. Brandon, have a good night, you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for everybody that consistently comes in here every Saturday night. We do appreciate it. We do have our nice little family fan base that comes in here every week, and that means the world to us. So, Other than that, we will see you guys next week. We will post per usual on all the social media platforms during the week. Classroom Jackie will post who we're going to cover next week, and enjoy your guys' week. And other than that, I am going to have Classroom Jackie take us out of here for the weekend.
Same crime time, same crime place.
Good night, everyone.
See ya.
Goodbye.